Hi, my name is Marty Major with FLIR Security's TCX Training Department. We're here today to add and configure a camera without using the wizard. Now we just did another training video on how to add cameras via the camera wizard, which you can see right here. But what we're going to do today is just bring them in via Discovery and set them up the way we normally would if we were just adding one camera, or adding 50 cameras even for that matter, because then what we could do is once we've added our 50 cameras, we could set up one camera and then simply copy the configuration across all of our other cameras, again, if they are the same model and have the same characteristics. So today we're just going to go to Discovery, and we have two different types. Again, that's a different training video on the two different types of Discovery on versus our proprietary. But we're just going to use our proprietary today and try to bring in a camera that I have available. So we're going to come down here and just hit Start, and we're going to let it do its discovery process. And you can see pretty quickly it did pick up my Axis PTZ. I have a M5014 model. So let's go ahead and stop it. And there's a couple of different ways. The first thing we need to do is attach it to an archiver, any of the archivers we have available. So we could highlight it right here and come down here and choose one of our available archivers, but I only have one, as you can see. So we could just hit attach here. We could do the same thing right from the camera or group of cameras by simply right-clicking and then attaching to that archiver. So either way works fine, and then we come up here and hit save. And it takes a few seconds or so for the camera to actually come up in latitude. And you can see it just popped up here in our list now on the left-hand side. It is the 51, so let's go ahead and expand this a little bit. And again, it's a little bit different than the cameras I have existing. You can see it's coming online right now. The little red thing just went away there. It should go away from the audio port and the encoder port here in just a second or two. Sometimes it takes a little bit. But we can go back to our system icon up here in the top left, and we can see that sure enough we do have 3 cameras now. I had 2 existing ones, and only 2 are recording because we have not done anything to the other one yet. So you can see if there was a problem it would show up in here. So let's go back now to, we can go to our video tab, and again there's a number of ways to go to the individual cameras itself, but you can see this is my new camera that I have just brought in. And shortly we should see the image. Now again, this is a PTZ and I have it on the floor, so I can come down here and just flip my image 180. PTZs are designed to be hung from ceilings, so when you have it on the floor, as I do right now, you simply flip the image and now you can see it pointing at my mantelpiece over my fireplace. So now the camera is up and running. So now what we need to do is come across these tabs and set the things that we want. So all we're going to be concerned with today are these 2 tabs right here, our video settings tab and our recording settings tab. All of these other ones are peripheral. We can set up a PTZ config, motion detection, etc., privacy masking, whatever. But today we're here just to get it up and running. So as you can see, it is currently here, but we have no little red light on it like my other 2 cameras do, indicating that they are recording. So the first thing we need to do is go to our video settings tab, and we do need to give it a coverage and a profile. The combination of a coverage and a profile, of course, equal a schedule. The coverage being the when, what day, what hours of each day, etc., and the profile indicating these 3 sliders down here. And we'll take a look at those in just a second, but let's go ahead and add a coverage. And for ease, let's just go ahead and choose always. That's an easy coverage. It means it's always occurring at all times. And then we come down here to the profile, and we have to set these 3 things. Now, sometimes we do have available choices, right? I've already created one of my own. Plus Axis, because it's an integrated camera with the latitude system, already has some pre-approved profiles we could use as well. But if I did want to change those, I could come to custom, set these to whatever I'd like to. I could slide this up and down, etc. A number of different things that I can do. Let's put it back to where it was, and I could change the quality, right? This is compression quality, but really what we're talking about here is quality. So if you raise it higher, the quality gets higher, and the bit rate gets higher as well. So with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and choose one that I have existing, my Axis High profile, which is its highest resolution, highest frame rate, and highest quality settings. And now that those are in there, I simply come up and hit save. And you can see down in the bottom now my active coverage is always. So it's always going to use these functions that I've set up right here because of my profile during the time period that I've given it. So I could also separate my live and recorded streams. I could record at a lower frame rate, resolution, quality, etc. than my live if I wanted to. I simply uncheck this checkbox and set up my same type of settings that I have on my live tab. But for ease, again, let's just go ahead and leave that tied to the live stream. So our live and recorded stream will do the same exact things. And now we're good to go, at least for that. Now, the tab right here between the two important ones is our picture settings tab. This only comes into play because you can see these settings right here: saturation, hue, contrast, brightness, etc. These things are almost always automatically done now by IP cameras. So if you have an analog camera attached to an encoder, you might possibly come to the picture settings, and then based on its environment and lighting and situations, etc., in its field of view, you could possibly come and make some of these setting changes. But again, IP cameras, this is almost all automatic. So you just skip right over it, don't do anything, don't really set a coverage or a profile for any of these. What we do need to do, however, is come to the recording settings tab and indicate our coverage. So when do we want it to be recording? Again, the example is very simple. Just use always. I could have it only recording during the daytime, only recording during this time period that I had already set up for a nighttime background export. Whatever I wanted to do, I could choose the available coverage. Now down here, these the recording lifespan, these are the different types of video that you can record by schedule. Again, our coverage and profile indicate a schedule. If you have your system set to not being recorded and only recording when it sees motion detection, well, that type of video would be applied to this slider. And then, of course, you can see the other types as well. If I'm doing a an alarm or something based recording, that would be listed here. And what I can do is set these individual times or dates or whatever. I'm using 31 day here by the default, but I could actually set this to whatever it is that I like. And these are just expiration dates to indicate that maybe there's a certain type of video I want to save longer. Maybe I want to save my alarm generated video a little bit longer. I simply set this date to a higher date than the others. And then when the FIFO process begins and the file starts to be overwritten, the system will look at these retention time spans and will utilize those accordingly. For instance, the ones with the lower number will be starting to be overwritten first, and the ones with the higher number, of course, will be overwritten last. However, these are not protections, right? These will still be overwritten. It just changes the order in which they do it. Now that all changes. All that I just mentioned changes if you check this box right here. If you check this box, it actually, the expiration date, it will force the deletion based on these settings that you have right here. So for privacy issues, things like that, maybe in your municipality you can only retain video for 30 days, or maybe you could only retain it for 1 week, 7 days. You could set all of these to 7 days, check that box, and you are compliant, because the system will actually overwrite the files at the beginning of the very next date that you have listed right here. So as soon as the 7 days is full, even if you have a physical recording for 30 days, 60 days, it doesn't matter. If you check this box, it will automatically start to delete those and overwrite those files at the date you specify. So that's important to know. Now that I've got my always coverage, I'm simply going to hit save. Now that we've explained some of the slider bar indicators, and you can see I am recording based on this little green checkbox. And if I come over here and look in the top, the little red light indicates that sure enough, I am recording. For further FLIR security training, go to FLIR.com, then Products and Security. From the Security page, you would come to Support and then Training. On the training page, we have it divided currently between in-person training and online training. The in-person training includes certification classes in Latitude and many of our thermal technologies. The online training includes upcoming security webinars, which you see up here on the left, and recorded webinars, which of course continues to grow as we do the current webinars. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see our online training video library, where we cover a number of different things in our repertoire. If we go to Latitude, you can see we have a series of Latitude training videos like this one that you just listened to, and we are adding to this list, and it is growing fast.